Hey, this is Dr. Jonathan Shepard here. It is so good to be with you on another Friday evening of Ask the Doctors. Come on in the room. I am here in the home office waiting for you to join me today. Have a wonderful subject matter that we'll be dealing with. I just want to again welcome you to this program. In this program, we deal with mental health issues that relate to our society. And we have experts who will come on and give their valuable expertise and insight into those various topics. No, they don't have to be a doctor, but they are a doctor in their own right. And I'm proud to say that about them. So today is Friday, September the 17th, 2021. And I am thankful that you all are joining. I'm looking at the comments. Come on in. Those who are going to join us, let me know that you're here. This particular show is sponsored by Hope Health Systems, which is a mental health agency headquartered in Woodlawn, Maryland, where I serve as a chief medical director. Yes, I've been serving there at this job for over 10 years, chief medical director for about approximately 7 years. And I advise you to come on over if you're in need of some mental health services, which so many of us are in need of because of the different things that are occurring in this time. We are living in some turbulent times, some troubled waters, as they will say. And because of that, we need to make sure that we have good health, physical and mental health. Dr. Hayes is out there, man. Oh, it's so good to see you. Been praying for you, man. I saw your post, and I'm going to have you come on the show to talk about your experiences. Yes, we know that you're the expert in mental health, and but yes, sir, our friend and our doctor had a bout with COVID-19, and he is still here. And so thankfully, we will have you on soon, sir. Absolutely. So good that you joined us today. Thank you for letting me know that you're out there. Been praying for you since I heard. And Nicole Jones is out there. Thank you for being with us. So many others will be joining us. I even want to thank those who will watch the replay. There are people who will go back, who will watch these replays and of the various episodes. You can always go back to our social media pages. You can go to Hope Health Systems media pages. You can go to my own personal media pages to watch previous episodes. We just started season number 2. And so last week we had on 2 doctors who talked about suicide prevention as we dealt with suicide prevention in particular Black people. And so you want to go back and watch that. Yes, this is September. September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and it's also National Recovery Month. Wow. It's a wonderful time, wonderful transition to be able to live in this time where you recover those things that you may have lost earlier in the year or even in previous years, or make sure that you're keeping yourself up to prevent having some issues with thoughts of wanting to hurt yourself. Yes, that does happen. I was just reading recently that suicide in Black young girls or young Black girls is on the rise. And I've been teaching that in some of our treatment team meetings over at Hope Health, that we have to make sure that we are looking for suicidal signs. And we'll, again, go back to that show last week. I don't want to repeat that, but it was an excellent show, and you would definitely benefit from it. There are some things that happen in the news. Dr. Harris is joining us, one of our consistent followers. Just some consistent things in the news, breaking news regarding vaccine boosters. FDA is saying that if you're over 65 or immunocompromised, it means that you have an illness that breaks down your immune system, that you should get a third shot, that you should get the booster shot. They did not agree with having everyone get a booster shot. And so we'll have to talk about that even in future episodes as we have done before. Just want to let kind of the breaking news settle and see what the science is behind that. But again, there's just so much that has occurred. We look at even how different people are spouting different myths, spouting myths about the vaccine. Nicki Minaj's name has been in the news lately, and how she talked about a friend of a relative who became impotent supposedly after getting the vaccine. Let me just tell you that a lot of the stories and myths that you hear that are pushed through social media, a lot of them are just that. They are myths. And unless they are substantiated, we cannot verify that the vaccine caused those things. Definitely are open minded on this forum, but we want to make sure that whatever we present to you is factual. And so that's why I really stress making sure that whatever people bring on here, including myself, that we have the data, the science to back it up. And that would have been interesting for her to get a phone call from the White House after she put that out on social media about a friend of a relative. That's so funny. The friend of a relative who became supposedly impotent after the vaccine. But anyway, I want people to know that the vaccine is safe. And even if you are vaccinated, there is still the chance of getting a breakthrough infection. And so, with that said, that really leads into what we're going to be talking about today, because we are back in session for schools. Schools are back in session, you all. It is now time for our students to learn from elementary school all the way up to our graduate level students. And it's such an exciting time for education, for academics. And I am so grateful. Thank you, Dr. Harris, for greeting us. And thank you, Pastor Montez Jones, who is a great a great person who continues these conversations. And I was reading his post, his comment that said great conversation. Thank you. You're a great supporter, Pastor Jones. Appreciate you out there. And let us know that you're watching. Send this to a parent, send this to an educator, send this to a person who is involved in the school settings. I'm ready to present our speakers, our presenters for today. Our discussion is the fall 2021 classroom scene. Is it safe or risky? Yes, and they're going to help answer that question because they are there. And this is a person who I have respected from afar. And then over the last 2 years, have had a chance to even interact with her more. And even as I've gotten to interact with her more, I'm just more impressed with the work that she does. She's a dedicated person to her family, to her church, and to her profession. And that is just awesome. I speak none other than Principal Carlinia Thompson. She's going to come on in, and whether or not y'all know it, CNN even thinks that she's a special person. And just had to throw that on in there. Oh, Principal Thompson, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Dr. Shepard, and thank you again for this awesome opportunity to give information about what's happening in the schools.
Absolutely. So we were together back in June, and so some people may have missed that. Some people may remember you. I know they do. But just tell the people a little bit about yourself. What do you do as far as profession, and what else you want them to know?
So I am Carlillian Thompson. I'm the principal of Robert W. Coleman Elementary School, which is one of our schools in Baltimore City. And one of the things that we take pride in at Robert W. Coleman is our mindfulness. Um, Probably back in 2010, we realized that students needed more than academics, that in order for students to be successful, that the whole child's needs needed to be met. As far as suspension rates, my suspension rate is zero. We decided that sending children home with parents or sending children home because of some kind of behavior that happened in school was not the answer. So, with our mindfulness, We've learned how to find out what happened prior to the child coming to school or even during school, and working on those different behaviors and giving them strategies of how to be successful right there in school. And it has worked for us.
Wow. 0 suspension rate. Come on here. Who has even heard of that? USA Today needs to come and find you, because when I read USA Today and some of these other national papers, they continue to talk about the suspension rates of really minority students, biopic. That's kind of the new term that they use now to represent those students who are minorities, and they just talk about how it is just unfair how many of them are suspended versus their majority counterparts, which are typically Caucasians. It's just not right. And so thank you for your diligence. Thank you for your service. Thank you for making sure that our children stay in school as opposed to being punished many times for something that they may not even be in control of, especially if they have a mental health disorder. So I just say a big collective thank you from parents. So appreciate the work that you do. This is wonderful. You have one more thing that you want to tell the people before we get into some of my questions. Tell us about the new exciting thing that's happened since the last time you were on.
Well, when we were on in June, we were waiting for our school to be completed, but now we are back in session in our brand new 21st century school, which is an opportunity for our students to have everything that they need to be successful.
Wow. Man, I wish we had some pictures. Wow, that's awesome. That is so great to hear that new schools are even opening in this time of a pandemic. I was mentioning how September is National Recovery Month. So, even though a little bit was delayed, but you're all able to recover. And that's great. And I'm sure the students and the faculty are appreciative of that new facility.
Oh, yes, they are.
Good. All right. Well, let me bring on the next person. She is an educator who we've had here before, and was just so proud of the work that she did, even in the midst of the pandemic, and graduating with her master's degree. She'll tell you what that master's degree is in. And educator, Letitia Dorsey. How are you doing, my friend? Oh, but you're muted.
Hello, Dr. Shepard. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Now that I can hear you. Oh, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
So I am a 14-year educator. I have taught grade levels from middle school, high school, and adult education. As Dr. Shepard said, I just recently received my master's degree in administration and supervision, literally 2 weeks before we did the last episode that I was on. And I teach cosmetology, and I am currently teaching at the school that I graduated from in Baltimore County, Carver Center for Arts and Technology.
Great. Wonderful. And glad you're back. Glad you have made it through another summer break. And before I even ask these questions, because I feel myself tempted to go there, but we got one more person, and I'm so happy this person agreed to come. This young gentleman, he is a scholar. He is a man of respect and honor. I've had a chance on my travels during this year to encounter his work. And I am so grateful that he agreed to come on and to represent Black males who are achieving greatness in education. Man, it is such an honor to have him. And this is Mr. Gregory Giles. I'm going to bring him on in. How you doing, sir?
Hello all. I'm great, sir. How are you, Dr. Shepard?
I'm doing pretty good. He is down there in Nashville, Tennessee. So come on, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us what you're doing as far as academics.
Okay, awesome. Yes, sir. We'll do. So, hello again. As he said, my name is Gregory Giles. I am originally from Columbus, Mississippi. Been in Nashville maybe a little over 4 years. Moved here, working as a engineer with the largest construction company here in the world, Turner Construction. Left there and ended up within the federal government for about 3 years, and I just transitioned to my new job this week. Actually, I started as a assistant project manager with the construction company here, as I'm finishing up my master's in business administration from Tennessee State University. So I've loved my academia journey, and I look forward to continue it well on after my MBA. So thank you for having me, sir, and I look forward to the conversations.
This is good. Oh man, I didn't even know all that. Come on here. This is awesome. And as you can see today, we just have people who are very much passionate. That's the word. They're passionate about what they do. And that's what we want to showcase. That's what Ask the Doctors is about. You don't necessarily have to have a doctorate degree to be passionate. Absolutely not. But you are a doctorate in your field. You are insightful. You bring the energy that is needed. And so let's dive into this conversation, because let me tell you, people were scared to go back into the classroom. And I know they were. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start with you, Principal Thompson. We just go around. Describe to me what you felt when you had to go back into the classroom. Was there some anxiety? Were you feeling uncomfortable? I want to hear what you felt, and even talk a little bit about what the teachers who you work with felt.
So with us, we actually started receiving students back in the classroom in March.
Right.
When the students walked through the door, it was a feeling of relief, especially for me, because from March of the previous year up until March of 2021, pretty much the building was empty. I was there, my secretary, my assistant principal, but walking through a school building where children should have been gave me a feeling of, I won't say I was depressed, but I was extremely sad.
Yeah.
Because expecting children to learn online, especially elementary school children, 6.5 hours a day, I knew that it wasn't what they needed. So with school being back in session, when students walked through the door, August the 30th of this school year, I was extremely excited. Now, back in March, we only had a small population, but now we are fully in session, pre-K through 5th grade, watching my little pre-Ks walk in with their little masks on and keeping a mask on their faces, because we keep our masks on all day long unless it's lunchtime. But you see them keep their mask on and know why we need to wear the mask. When children understand the purpose behind what you're asking them to do, they are better at doing it than adults are.
Wow. You might need to say that one again, because that is not highlighted.
The children, when children really understand what you expect them to do, they do it more effectively and more efficiently than the actual adults do.
Wow.
You know, and it's funny to see them remind each other, pull your mask up over your nose. But they know that we want them there. And I tell them every day, I need you to wear this mask every day, because I want you in school from now until June. I hear what's happening. We know the variances are coming. But if we do our part, I believe that we'll be able to maintain.
Gotcha. Educator Letitia, I'm sorry.
Tish is fine. Just as Principal Thompson said, we did return in March. For my class, I only had about 3 or 4 students return. And that was divided within 4 classes. So I was really only with 1 or 2 students at a time. The rest of my students decided, because they had the option, to remain virtual. And coming back fully was a little, it was interesting. And it was had a lot of questions behind it for the teachers, and not because the administration left us in the dark, but more so because the administration really was learning things right as we were learning them, like literally hours. We were getting updates from our principal every day, 4 and 5 updates that were being sent out. And so a lot of the teachers were really nervous and just really unsettled, honestly, because although we do have the older children in the high school level, we know that they can have their own set of attitudes and opinions and ways of doing things. And so I will say the first day back, the students were so excited to be back. It was almost honestly like having 2.5 years worth of ninth graders come in at one time, because
Wow.
the new ninth graders had never been there. The last year's ninth graders had never been to the school, and then the ninth graders before that only were there for a couple of months. And so that's kind of how you had to kind of handle the situation, almost where most of the population had never been in the building. And so they were very excited, very anxious. And, we have our all of our lines down the hallway and the arrows pointing. But, with my school being 3 levels, a lot of students didn't know where they were going. They didn't know where the classrooms were. So it took a lot of interaction with the students, teacher presence in the hallway to just help them get to where they needed to be just, the first couple of days. So it was very like a breath of fresh air in some instances, with a lot of hesitation from more so the adults, because we were just concerned of how we were going to really fulfill what we needed to do and be within these guidelines.
Gotcha.
Well, I could just piggyback.
Yeah.
One of the exciting things for us was going into a brand new building. Watching my teachers come the week prior to the students and looking at everything that they had at their fingertips was such an awesome, rewarding experience. And then watching the children come into a building that none of them had ever been in before. And even now, just watching them and they talking about how beautiful the building is and everything that it has to offer. It was just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg, come on, join in.
Absolutely. So for me, it's just a little different. So I've been excited. Well, I guess I speak for myself and then I speak from a college student's perspective. For myself, I've been highly anticipating like classes to resume only because I'm not a virtual learner. I feel like in order for me to fully grasp and gain everything that I need to gain, I need insight. I need to be there with you. I need to ask you questions. I need you to, talk back to me. I need to look at my friend and I have to, ask silly questions to them outside or off topic, only to like go back and gain more knowledge, just to relive that classroom environment. And so the whole time we were in quarantine, or we were, when COVID first hit, I was hurt. I was down and out. Like I think that semester was probably, I won't say my worst semester. I think I came out with a 3.5 that semester, and I was hurt. Like, I mean, just because I feel like when I went back to school, I of course went back for the education standpoint, but I think the more and more I engage into school, I love the social aspect of it. I love the networking that comes within it. I love the interaction, not just from my classmates, but from my professors as well. So I think just being at Knoll and being here at home, and my friends will tell you too, I'm a busybody. Like I always have to be on the go. So I guess remaining in my house itself is enough, but remaining in my house to go along with learning online, it was horrible. It was horrible. But I speak from a college standpoint. I feel like I think a lot of college students were happy and sad. I think happy because, we get to kind of, go back home and do what we do, lay in bed and be in class. But then those students that were actively involved in campus, I think those are the ones that really took a hurt or a hit and were really hurt, only because that, you didn't have that on-campus engagement. You didn't have that interactive learning or that social aspect that I kind of touched on that I kind of enjoy. So I think you kind of have a lot of different thoughts of college, depending on which college student you speak with. I think you can kind of get a different reaction from them. So I think coming from a college student's perspective, I think you can get a lot out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was hurt.
Absolutely. Look, man, I gotta go back to something you said. He said his worst semester, Letitia. and then dropped a 3.5. I said, come on here. This is
I mean, what I'm talking.
Yeah, I mean, I could have done better. I really could have. And of course, I'm very grateful, But in the sense of like, I just know more is expected of me.
Oh man, this is what we need to be highlighting. If you haven't found out why I chose Gregory Giles, you are seeing right now. Humble guy, but he is no joke. So I tell you, for someone just to say that is awesome. That's awesome, and we need to have more examples highlighted just like you. Let me tell you this. I'm seeing one of the comments that's in the chat right now, and so I'm going to deal with it. And I even heard it a little bit already in the responses that you gave, Principal Thompson, and then the response that you gave, Letitia, about the children wearing the mask. And I know that is just such a big concern. Unfortunately, mask mandates has just become a political hot button issue in this country. And it's sad to say that. And so when people now say mask, it's like, are you wearing yours? Are you not wearing yours? Are you going to wear, and then people, even today. So when I wear a mask, I typically wear 2 masks. I normally double mask. That's just me. I started double masking back when we were wearing them, and I just never stopped. And so somebody came to me and said, you must not be vaccinated. I said, why would you say that? Because you got on double mask. I said, okay, all right. Well, that's a wrong assumption. But I'm listening to a reading, I should say, one of the parents out there, and she said that her son is a teacher and excited to be with his students. However, some of the teens do not want to wear their mask, and she's concerned about his safety, and he has gotten his shots. Amongst the 3 of you all, have you had any persons out there who they were vaccinated and they did get a breakthrough infection, or someone in either of your environments where just mask wearing was really an issue? It was just hard to get them to do that. So I know I'm asking a 2-pronged question there, but someone jump in and answer that for me.
I'll go ahead and start off. It hasn't been an issue for us wearing the mask. I think that the expectation was set from day one. It is required. And if you can't follow those directions, you will have to go home. And that's for the teachers and for the students. And so we haven't had any issues of students, for our grade levels 9 through 12, not wearing the mask. That actually has been surprisingly the easy part.
Okay.
We do get mask breaks where we can take the students outside. And then, of course, you would distance yourself from that perspective. If it is necessary, we can take them outside, take the class outside, or if a student needs to step out or step away, because we have seen that some students and teachers, the mask literally exhausts them. It makes them tired. Mm-hmm. And so we do have those breaks that are kind of built in, or even those clauses set in the requirements for returning, where, so we really haven't had any issues with our students or staff wearing masks for my school.
Gotcha.
And for our school, no, we really haven't. And the funny thing is, the children, when they first enter into the building, we have masks available because sometimes they might get leaving. The children, they know where to go to get their masks. And again, when you explain why I need this, we have masks with our school mascot on them. The children wear those. The adults wear them. The children feel like the mask is part of their school uniform because we are a uniform school.
Mhm.
So that's part of my uniform. And
Gotcha.
like I said, from pre-K to fifth grade. Now, some of the fifth graders might want to take the mask off, but they know that it's mandatory to keep it on in school. So they do. Now, at dismissal, you might see them walking away from the school with it below the nose or whatever. But I really can't say that we've had any major problems. All of the teachers wear them, all of the staff in the building. And we do COVID testing once a week.
Mm,
So,
gotcha. Any issues, Greg?
So I want to piggyback off of the comment initially first. So she was saying that the kids don't wear the mask per the CDC guideline. Even though if he has a shot for comfort purposes for her son, the CDC guideline says that he should still be in good grace only until like symptoms show, then he should be concerned. So for comfort purposes, having the COVID-19 shot, I think it does serve purpose, comfort wise for your son, ma'am. So I would say rest in that initially. But as far as in like to your question and the first question that you asked, yes, I have seen someone get get COVID-19 from after having the COVID-19 shot.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have heard that their symptoms were a lot milder. And so I think it does ease up, everything that COVID gives. However, I think it just comes with the territory. At work, so at my old job, I speak from that standpoint. I worked at a hospital, so it was highly enforced. Even though we were at the back of the hospital, upstairs, downstairs, like they still asked that you wear it.
Mm-hmm.
There was actually one of my employees, she caught COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody freaked out. But that was one of the things that they kind of let rest with a lot of the employees is that, if you had your COVID shot, don't panic, don't fret, like don't be afraid. It's okay until you start showing symptoms, then you react. But until then, just kind of move as you normally do. So I think the best thing in this situation is to, just take care of yourself first at first hand, and then let everything else just kind of handle itself as it acts. Don't overreact. I think I think a lot of times overreaction kind of takes control, and we freak out and we lose it, and we kind of let our thoughts run. And I won't say close minded, but we just let our thoughts run, and we don't kind of open up or have that open form. So, I don't know. I think just taking proper precaution in the beginning. That way, as stuff plays out, you're okay in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to be careful not to overreact. Absolutely. And that actually is a good segue into my next question about overreaction, and even how some of the people are dealing with the whole mental anguish of being back in the school, knowing that some people may not actually have returned. I'm not sure if any of you all have experienced any deaths due to students or teachers or even some staff members due to COVID-19. And so that's something that a lot of people haven't been talking about. You're returning back into a building, and yes, it's new and it's exciting, but there's some things that you people you might have been looking for, or certain things that you once had, and they're no longer there, and that affects you. It definitely does. And I want to tie it into September being Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And I know that, yes, we're talking about elementary, high school students. We're talking about grad students. But let me tell you, those are the people who are most at risk for completing a suicide. So we have to talk about it today because it is the second leading cause of death of that age range. Wow. Second leading cause of death. So what I want to do is now transition to just let's talk about it. What things have you seen where people were really struggling mentally? And are there certain things that your school or institution has in place to help those who are struggling? And as you talk about it, I guarantee people who are listening, they're going to get some ideas on how to be able to deal with maybe their own personal struggle or even some students who they know. So I'm going to start with you, Tish. You look like you're ready.
I actually was going to tie in what Gregory was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Overreacting, yes, we want to minimize that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think we still need to stress is being cautious.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that I think we as a generation or just as a people, COVID is still here. And, you know, just because we're trying to move back and find some type of normalcy, we still have to be cautious, you know, so things that our schools are doing are providing, you know, that disinfectant wipes, providing extra masks, providing hand sanitizers, like consistently restocking the classrooms. And, you know, I'm not panicking, but I'm definitely being cautious. And so when my students come in, it is required for you to wipe down your desk. It is required for you to, if you can't get to the restroom and wash your hands, it is required for you to wipe down the desk, use the hand sanitizer, and that is the exit policy as well. It's just, I think that panicking is not and it's not necessary, but we still have to remain cautious and be diligent in those things that we have been asked to do. And I think that is one of the concerns that I and some of my coworkers have been having, is that we get too relaxed after we start coming to school and coming to work day after day. You know, students start getting relaxed, and we're literally like this year. We've had to do seating charts, which is something that, you know, all schools didn't require. It is now a requirement for seating charts. It is a requirement for if the child moves or if the student moves, you have to make note of that. You know, so those things like having those like the masks are not the problem, but reminding the students you can't share things, you can't borrow their charger. I teach high school. You can't, you know, those types of things. And so, you know, like those things have been the more complicated aspect of things. And like you were saying, just as far as things that we have in place for the students, one thing that we have in place for the students, our school built in what we called Wildcat time and advisory time. Wildcat time, it's every day. And so 10 minutes was taken off of every classroom time. And now we have this 30-minute session where students can meet with teachers, meet with, like, if they're struggling in a class, if they're behind in a class, or if they just need additional help. The advisory time is for us to check in with the students, to see where they are, to give them an opportunity to learn other students that they may not be in class with every day. It's just a time for them to build relationships with teachers that they are not on their schedule. And we use that time to check in to see how they're feeling, how they're doing, what's going on with them, and a way for them to bond with other students. Because when you hear stories and you hear students' experiences, another student is sparked and they said, oh yeah, that happened to me too. This is how I handle it. And so it gives them an opportunity to really, one, build their communication skills back up, but then two, become comfortable with other students and knowing that they're not alone in situations that they're going through. And I think that was one of the largest things that we've implemented at our school to help students ease some of the stressors that they have, just talking about it and getting perspectives from other students and teachers as well.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Greg, why don't we go to you and then we'll go to Principal Thompson. Anything in place that you all have for students who are struggling mentally or emotionally?
Yeah, so with the campus opening back up fully, all the resources that were there as far as like counseling services and those like in the student helplines, like they're all there to utilize. But I will say one thing about college, and I veer off. One of the things about college students, we we're not as open to going to those resources. You know, if I'm just gonna be transparent, like they send us emails, you know, if you're in trouble, if you're hurt, or you're thinking about harming yourself, you know, or if you just can't take it, you know, the thoughts of COVID-19, please give us a call. Please come visit us at, you know, such and such building. But in a sense, like you may have, you know, 1 or 2 students go there a week, and this is just me saying that. I don't know particularly, but from you know, from being in my 20s and being a millennial, you know, and in 2021, I'm gonna say is we're not as open. We're not as open to asking and reaching for help. Yes, those resources are available, but we're not utilizing them in the way that we should.
So I want you to speak now to those who may need to. I want you to speak directly because they'll hear it from you,
Right.
just the way in which you just said it. And then we're gonna go to you, Principal Thompson. But I don't want to miss this moment. I need you to speak to them because someone is going to listen to what you're saying.
Absolutely. So whether it's a, you know, a counselor, a professional, of course you should want to go to and gain professional help. Whether it's a counselor, a friend, a buddy, a parent, a friend of your parents, son, daughter, I think that you should open up and talk to somebody. One of the things that I've learned and I gained from I'm 26. I relate my age. I'm 26 years old. Thank God for that. But within my 26 years on earth, I think at age 17, I realized that once I opened up and kind of unwinded that, you know, that water bottle and just kind of let out everything in it, the less tension that I had up here, the better I performed in my daily functions. The better I slept at night, the better I, you know, handled everyday conversations. So everybody needs some type of outlet. Nothing should be enclosed. Again, so you should want to gain professional help. However, there are other resources if you're not as open to going yet, you know, gain that, find an outlet, just find an outlet and release that, you know. And whether it's due to COVID-19 or if it's, you know, something personal, like find an outlet.
Gotcha. I'm telling you, they're receiving from what you just said, especially with the water bottle analogy. I love that. I love it. 26 years old, Tish. You remember?
And honestly, I think it's more than just his age frame. Even in my age frame, you know, we're dealing with a lot of different things, you know, COVID and loss and grief. And as soon as we take that first step to accept that it's okay to talk to someone, it is okay to get additional help. You can't do everything on your own. You can't handle every situation on your own. And yes, as an adult, we are expected to be responsible, reliable, but sometimes you just need to talk to someone just to get stuff off your chest. And it makes you feel better. Like you said, that pressure is released. And it's not just for, even looking at the teachers that I work with, you know, some of the stressors that they've experienced or that they are experiencing, even through this COVID time. We all need somebody to talk to. We all need a Dr. Shepherd. we all need a Dr. Shepherd, regardless of your age. I think sometimes pride in general can really get in the way of a lot of us, regardless of our age, young or old.
Yeah. Principal Thompson, come on, jump in.
Older.
Yeah. No, I got it.
So basically on my end, it's the total opposite. Children are very transparent. And I think the problem comes in when children are honest with their parents and tell them how they feel. The parents make statements like, "Oh, you don't want to kill yourself. Oh, you're all right," or "Oh, go somewhere and sit down."
Yeah,
they're going to tell you. In the morning, we come together as a community, and questions are asked, and the children are raising their hand when, you know, a question about how do you feel today, or is there someone who feels like they need to talk to someone? The hands go up.
Wow.
We have mental health agencies that are in our building every single day. We have a full-time school social worker. We have a school psychologist. We have the teachers. The teachers take time within the classroom to just talk about different things. One of the things that I've noticed about the curriculum deals a lot more with emotional situations than it used.
Mm.
So the children are able to hear a story or hear a situation and relate to it. But what I say to parents is when your child is telling you, listen, because they are serious.
Wow.
I had, as I shared before, I think I talked about the little first grader that because he had eczema really bad, he was teased about his and he really wanted to try to commit suicide. A
Wow.
first grader, we're talking about a 6-year-old
Wow.
that had to be admitted into Shepherd Pratt to get additional support. So it's real. It doesn't matter the age, but we have to have a listening ear
True.
and not be judgmental.
Mm.
A lot of
Gotcha.
times, children, teenagers, adults don't want to talk to other people because they are afraid of how they're going to be judged
Mm.
or how is your opinion of me going to change.
Mhm.
But children in pre-K through 5th grade, they are transparent,
Gotcha.
very transparent. So
Gotcha.
we have to have that listening ear and be receptive. And there are times when children say things and I want to just jump right in and I have to wait and listen
Mm.
because they're looking at me to respond to them in a way that's going to help them. So if I respond in a negative way, that's going to turn them off. Will they come back to me? Absolutely not. So I
Right.
have open door policy. If you need me, come talk to me.
Absolutely.
We're gonna work this together. You're not alone. We're in this together. That's my
Let me get your perspective on this one. So we've talked about the children. I love the different range of responses that you all have given because it really has opened up not just my eyes but the listeners' eyes. Speak to those teachers who are struggling. You know, you're the principal, so
so I
yeah, go ahead.
let me just tell you, I've had teachers who were struggling,
Mhm.
especially when COVID first started, the anxiety of it, you
Yes.
know, and talking to the teachers, praying with them, giving them direction, giving them guidance. And another example, the first day of school, one of the teachers was so happy to have children in the building. Literally, she was bawling. So a little, I don't know if it was a pre-K or kindergartner, they went and handed her a pack of Kleenex tissue.
Wow.
For her, that was an awesome, powerful experience and expression of love from a
Mm.
child who didn't even know who she was.
Mm.
So, yes, especially teachers who don't have family here or
Mm.
who might be living by themselves. So, one of the things that I do, um, I send out a newsletter, and in every newsletter, I make sure that I put some self care information there
Okay.
for them to have. Sometimes you need that reminder. You're not alone. We all struggle. I was very transparent with my staff. I told them when I walked in that building and the children weren't there and they weren't there, I cried. It hurt me to my heart.
Wow.
So I think as the instructional leader, you set the tone for the building. So if you can be transparent with everybody else, I was in during my staff meeting on Tuesday, and we were talking about suicide and drug overdose. And in the meeting, I just thought I just broke down
Mm.
because I was reflecting on just having lost a family member.
Right.
So my staff were coming to me and giving me support. So we all have to be transparent enough to say there are times when even me as the leader have times when I need you. So if you can be there for me, I'm definitely going to be there for you.
This is good. This is awesome. Anybody want to comment before I go to our closing remarks?
So what I liked about that, Principal Thompson, was being transparent as an adult and as a teacher. If you don't have to let them know all of your business, but letting them know you are struggling too helps them. You know, some of our teachers, because I'm in a school that offers various types of you know, every student has they're part of a different, what we call primes or programs. So they're for their academic, regular standard academics, but then they're doing something like cosmetology or carpentry or dance or culinary. And we're so used to doing so many large activities and putting on these big shows and, you know, providing all these big services for the school and for the community. And our teachers were really panicking, trying to figure out, how do we still do these things while we're in COVID? Because it's not going to work, you know. And I literally had a teacher come to me just breaking down, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. This is just going to be so much. And I was like, well, one, you got to calm down. Let's just take a breath first, you know. As like, you know, we have to just kind of be creative and bounce our ideas off of each other. But her transparency, with her saying, I'm not sure how we can accomplish this, asking students, what do you think we can do to get this done, but still be in the confines of our restrictions? You know, so that component of being transparent with your students also helps them understand that they're not in this alone, that adults struggle with things as well, and that we all have to help each other.
Mm-hmm.
This is good. This is good. Wonderful, wonderful. Wow. This is so impactful. I'm ready to shift now. This has been a wonderful conversation. I was looking at the different people who have joined in, and the evangelist Priscilla Briggs Harvin, and Dr. Harris, of course, has been responding, and Kanisha Fielder, I believe that is. And the others have been responding throughout. And so Sarita Watson, who is a consistent follower. I want to just provide some inspiration and encouragement. That's what I want to do at the very end. That's how I want to end this particular broadcast today. Hopefully you've gotten a sense of what the fall 2021 classroom scene is like. You've heard it from different vantage points. You've heard it from the graduate student level. You heard it from the high school level. You heard it even from the elementary school level. And you've heard it from the principal, and the one who supervises, who is the lead instructor for a particular school. And so we have heard all these different perspectives. But I want to challenge people today. And really, you're going to be speaking even to me, even as I'm looking to expand even my own academic knowledge in certain areas. So I want you to speak to Greg in particular. I'm going to start with you first. I want you to speak to the person who may be struggling with, man, do I go back to school? Do I go back to get that, finish out that bachelor's degree? Do I go back to finish getting the master's degree? So I want you to give someone some encouragement. I want you to just let them know, hey, I know where you're at. So go ahead and speak to those people.
Sure. Absolutely. So I want to first start off by saying closed minds equals trapped thoughts. The more open-minded that you are to going back to school, the more open-minded that you are going back to school, the more not just yourself will benefit from it, but others. You know, the simple fact of like the fact that I'm gaining my MBA, I'm not doing this for myself, but I'm doing it for my family to come. You know, I look to have a family. I look to have a wife and kids galore. But at the same time, I'm knowing I'm not just doing this for myself. I'm doing it for others. And knowing that, you know, that what I'm doing will not just impact myself, but, you know, to Principal Thompson and Miss Dorsey, to the extent of how they feel and how they are when their students come back and they're interacting and how they're feeling. You know, it's not just about yourself, it's about others as well. So not just you're on the surface level yourself, but, you know, the family to come. And I also want to leave you with a Bible verse, Philippians 4:6, when it says, Do not be anxious for anything, but all things through prayer and supplication, make your request known to God, knowing that he's going to fulfill everything that you ask for. So again, just don't be closed-minded, and just know that your life is not your own. Others depend on you and what you're doing. So your future, a lot of times, rely on education. And of course, I know everybody's, no, I'm not. No, education is for everybody. It's not. But in the extent of, within elementary and middle school and high school, it is. And then post high school, it's still for a lot of people. And so be open-minded. Just be open-minded.
Wow. Oh, I love it. You see, I was still in that one, man. You had us. He said, closed minds equal trap thoughts.
Yeah.
That's good.
God
That's
be good.
good. That's good. No, and thank you for reminding us of the word of God, the word of the Lord in Philippians 4:6. It's always good to make sure that you understand what fuels your faith. And that's one of the things that will help us during this time of anxiety. So, Tish, I want you to speak again to that person, and you maybe want to speak to those children who may have been struggling to coming back into the classroom. So go ahead.
Okay. I would say, in closing, pace yourself. Just pace yourself. Find balance and pace yourself. He gave scripture, and the scripture that came to me was, the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong. You just have to endure. Just stay consistent, stay focused, and do what is best for you. A lot of times we try to compare ourselves to other people and where we are versus where other people are, when our lives were designed specifically for us. And so pacing yourself, finding balance, not doing too much. For those of us that work, you got to find balance in order to maintain that sanity. You got to find relaxation. You got to find, like Principal Thompson said, that self-care. You've got to keep you on track and keep your mind focused, but just stay consistent, not taking on too much, knowing when enough is enough, and just keeping your focus consistent and balanced. And sometimes if we just take a deep breath and say, wait a minute, I got this on my list, this on my list, this on my list. Let me prioritize what needs to happen first. Because a lot of times we have these students, they are overwhelmed because they're looking at 15 assignments, but some of the assignments are not due until 2 months from now. So, prioritizing, pacing yourself, staying consistent, and just find balance. That's what I would say.
Oh, this is awesome. Principal Thompson, come on, jump in. And I want you to speak to even the parent who may be struggling to allow his or her child to go back to school, because there are still some who fit that criteria.
So one of the discussions that I had with different parents that have called me was to ask them, well, do you take your child with you to the grocery store, or do you take your child to the mall? If you can take your child to all of these places, you can entrust your child with me, because all of these children in this building belong to me. Wow. And I am going to make sure that I do for your child what I would want someone to do for mine. One of the scriptures that I reference quite a lot is Jeremiah 29:11. And I tell parents, when you were born, God already knew what your fate and your destiny was going to be. You don't have any say-so in the matter, because it's already been planned, your start date and your end date. But what happens in between is up to you. So we have to trust God and trust the process. Parents know that me being a principal, that's not a job for me. It's my ministry. So every time I get an opportunity to share the word of God, and of course, I'm not a fanatic, but if a parent comes to me and needs some guidance, I'm going to give them what God gives me to give to them.
Absolutely.
So just trusting the process and knowing that nothing happens unless God allows it to happen.
Absolutely.
So you trust me, as I trust God.
Wow.
And we are growing and flying this together.
Yeah. And I'm sure that when the parents hear that, that is so reassuring, because they know that you're grounded, and knowing that that you're grounded even in the midst of uncertain times, that will help in the midst of people feeling anxious and uncertain. So I'm thankful, because one of the things that we cannot shy away, and we definitely don't shy away even on this particular platform, is faith. Faith is a measure that God has given to us that will ground you and settle you, even in the midst of turbulent times. And so, thank you for emphasizing that. And I want to make sure that the people who've listened here today, they know that here are 3 examples that you can take to the bank. I say take to the bank. I mean, listen to what they have told you. I couldn't write out any better prescriptions for you. And Educator Dorsey said, well, we all need a Dr. Shepherd. Well, Dr. Shepherd needs somebody too. So, I'm in this. And so I listened to what you all have said, and it has been helpful for me. If you can, just real quickly in the comments, if this has been helpful. I've seen so many people have said this is awesome. They said that this has been informative, been a good session. And so thank you. Just let me know that you've been here. Janet, thank you. I forgot to acknowledge you earlier. It's been helpful and affirming. Thank you. And I think I saw your mom, Tish, earlier commenting, said this has been good. So thank you, Mrs. Hamilton, who's out there. And so just comment real quick. Let me know that you're here. We're going to bring this to a close. I want our presenters to stay here as we close out. So with this, Hope Health Systems, thank you, Sarita Watson. Hope Health Systems is a mental health agency that helps to sponsor this particular broadcast. And so with this, Ask the Doctors has brought to you another episode that hopefully will provide for you the mental health treatment. And I say treatment because this is a form of treatment. As you talk about things, as you are learning and assisting, we are not providing professional treatment as to telling you this is what you need to do, but we're definitely leading you in the path so that you can get the assistance and the professional treatment that Greg talked about earlier. That is our job. And so I never want to be mistaken for saying that, Dr. Shepherd told me, ask the doctors, this is what I need to do. No, we have a disclaimer here, but we want to make sure that you are following what these experts, what these doctors have said to you today. This has been awesome, hasn't it? Principal Thompson, may God bless you and all the work that you do. Again, an extraordinary person who you need to know. Where can they reach out to you, Principal Thompson? If they have any questions, or I don't know, you might have some parents that look, I need to get my child over in that school.
The name of my school is Robert W. Coleman Elementary School. My email address is ca.thompson@bcps.k12.md.us.
Got it. What you need to do for those, because I can't type that too fast. I need you to go back and replay that, and reach out to me, or just reach out to me on social media, and I'll make sure I know how to reach out to Principal Thompson. We have a strong connection, and even those for those who are Hope Health Systems. Remember, Principal Thompson came and presented at one of our all staff trainings, and even brought one of her students and at that particular presentation. And so we're thankful again. Letitia Dorsey, thank you. We thank you for the job that you have continued to do and maintain your due diligence and teaching. And so thank you. And we're looking forward to some of the aspirations. She has some wonderful aspirations. And so make sure that you keep her name on your mind, because when you see it, you're going to be like, wow, I saw her back when. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not just saying it. I really do believe that. Tell the people where they can reach out to you.
So I am at the Carver Center for Arts and Technology. I'm a cosmetology teacher. I can be reached at L Dorsey and the number 6 at bcps.org.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. I don't know. We may have some people who might want to come on over there just to get in your class and into your sessions. We just really don't know, but thank you. And then, man, Gregory Giles, you have hit it out the water. You're the right person for this.
Yes.
Awesome. And so tell the people where you're, in case they want to reach out to you at the Tennessee State University. Yeah, tell the people where they can reach out to you.
To God be the glory. Thank you, sir. Yeah, so you can reach me at Greg 2Gs 819 at gmail.com. Facebook is Gregory Giles Jr. Instagram is Giles Giles _15. LinkedIn, Gregory Giles Jr. I'm pretty much on every social media platform. That's what us millennials do. We go from platform to platform. So my handles are all pretty much the same, Gregory Giles Jr. And you should be able to find me.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. So you've got the contact information for all of our presenters today. If you're in need of mental health, direct mental health services, I should say, reach out to us at Hope Health Systems. The email was scrolling earlier, hopehealthsystems.com. Our phone number, 410-265-8737. We'll do you some good. That's what I tell people who come over to us. And we have helped so many different people, all ages. We deal from the babies all the way up into geriatrics. And so there is no person who we do not accept unless your insurance doesn't allow us to accept you. That's not our fault. But anyway, but we want to make sure that if you're in need, and even if your insurance doesn't accept you, we'll find a place that will. I'll say that. We just don't leave you hanging because these are times where really are trying for people and they really need to get the mental health services. All right. We'll see you next week. Ask the Doctors is back in. I love this new season. This has been awesome. We've been staying steady with the number of viewers today. Again, I want to thank the people who are going to watch the replay. Some people already in the comments have said, I was busy doing something else, but I'm going to go back and watch the replay. I understand. Please do so. And then share it and like it. And then let me know how we're doing. Let me know what we can do better. Let me know some topics that you want to address as we continue to forge through this time and era that we live in. Thank you so much. Please be safe. Our presenters, please stay put.